Hi, we are live. It's TechCrunch TV Live at Disrupt New York. I am here with Paul Berry, the founder and CEO of RebelMouse. Thank you for joining us, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
When RebelMouse launched a couple of years ago, it was basically it was sort of known as this place where you just put your Facebook, Twitter, all your social media updates. Now I think it's become more of a sort of publishing tool, right?
Yes, so we've evolved. The product was always headed where we are now, which I'm really proud of, is an enterprise class CMS that's solving for media companies, like startups that are venture backed and large media companies, how you build your direct relationship with consumers with an awesome site and apps that use all the latest viral trends and beautiful editing tools. And we're doing the same for brands as well. So we started, in order to do this, we had to be a lightweight, easy to launch, social, mobile CMS. So the first things were building all these hooks into APIs to be able to listen across social, study stats, react to it. But you know, it's a Huffington Post Mafia company. So I always
try to
knew,
make that a thing, the Huffington Post Mafia.
I ran product design and engineering for HuffPost from
You were
early
the
on.
CTO for...
Yeah. So we're traffic junkies and we're obsessed with how things go viral. So just curating social will never be enough. It's how do you do that mix of curation and original content? And how do you iterate quickly so that as things emerge, you're ahead of it? You know, that the sharing tools are right, that you build a loyal community that can also build your subscriber base and then build this large distributed content and audience.
Right, so basically somebody who wants to launch, say the next Huffington Post, the next BuzzFeed, they would use RebelMouse to publish their site instead of something like, say, WordPress.
Yeah, and we drastically reduced the time to launch. When a venture-backed startup or a brand with a budget looks at their time to launch, we can do this in days or weeks, what takes them months, like many months and sometimes years. So we've developed a ton of software that is very deep and has a social APIs and deep community. And then we have a services group that, in a hyper-efficient way, customizes it to your voice and your audience. So it's become something we're very proud. The sites and apps on our platform are growing very quickly.
So I know the one site you guys like to highlight, because I think they're sort of built natively with RebelMouse, was the Dodo, right?
Yes.
What is the Dodo?
So the Dodo is a site for the love of animals. And this is a mix of people trying to save species from extinction, trying to save animals from cruelty, and then also who just love animals. So it's been a really awesome one for us because it's broken through a very crowded space. Covering animals on the internet was not a new idea. But the way we've done it has been that perfect mix of great content and awesome technology, and there are over 10 million uniques.
To the Dodo.
Yeah, to the Dodo in the last 31 days. They have a dedicated, crazy, loyal audience that has in the last 31 days, over 250,000 people have been there over 200 times.
So you guys were involved actually in that case fairly early on in the development of the site.
And that we're doing increasingly. A site we're really proud of that's awesome and everyone should check out is Fatherly, which is like a baby center for dads. And that again...
Wait, just say that again. It's a babysitter for dads. Okay.
So, fathers actually really care these days. So it's different, the sort of tips you get. When you go to, as a dad of 3, I really connect with the site. When you go to baby centers and stuff, you don't really feel like you can participate because it's so mom-focused. And so Fatherly has been able to build this site that's highly personalized, that has emails and newsletters and implicit and explicit personalization, and we power all of that product and technology.
So if I go to a site that's been built on RebelMouse, will it be clear, right away that it's RebelMouse? Are there things that I can look at for?
Well, we like that we customize so it's your site and your voice and your aesthetic. So it's actually like mimichatter.com is beautiful, and the Dodo and Fatherly and Brain Decoder and a bunch of sites, they don't look the same. So we've actually built that framework. However, people are starting to catch on because there's really amazing social graph tools. So every media company and every brand too has the opportunity to be a niche network that pulls in your social graph, connects the people you know that are on this property, and lets you actually discover content and discover people.
So, you mentioned working again with these companies very early on, and that occurs to me that you're in this unique position to see what seems like, just this time when there's so much, or at least it feels like there's a lot of money flowing into the content business, into new websites and blogs. So from your perspective, does it feel like a good time to be starting a new content site?
We feel very lucky because the amount of software that we've built, we have 65 developers and 110 employees. It's now very deep, and the timing feels very perfect because brands know they need to be media companies now, and they've had enough time to realize how hard it is to do really well. So the old tricks for advertising don't work, and the tension between CMO and CIO offices at brands is really high because, and that's what we solve, is when you think of the trend of consumerization of enterprise, no one's doing that for the CMS the way we are.
Right.
So it's becoming, we're able to close deals quickly as we show just how deep our software is, how quickly we launch, and how we iterate.
So you've got the sort of publisher side for consumer sites like the Dodo, and you've got sort of brands that want to do sort of brand marketing.
Yeah.
Are both of those going to be sort of significant revenue sources, or do you see the brand side as really being the moneymaker for RebelMouse?
No, the media business is really important for us because when media companies look at the cost, the total cost of ownership, that's why venture-backed startups are coming to us and companies like Time Inc. too. You'd think, oh great, I launch a WordPress and I'm done, but if you've done it, you realize, no, you need this huge army of developers. And that's the trend that we're tying to, is you shouldn't have to, there's tremendous lost opportunity to scale as everyone builds and maintains their own.
Right.
So when
I think definitely TechCrunch, all the editorial drives our developers crazy because they're constantly can you add this to our WordPress site? Can you add this? Can you fix this?
Yes, it's a constant thing. And then you realize things like, oh, if traffic comes from Pinterest, the share button should switch to the left and be the Pinterest button is the highlighted. Everyone doing this all over, it's like an enormous waste of cost and time. And then media companies are having trouble retaining talent and recruiting talent. So that's all stuff that we solve at